Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. Jared here with another review from Fanboys Forever. Today we're going to be having a look at something a little different. Anybody who watches the channel on a regular basis knows what a fan I am of the Mezco 112 Collective line of figures. One of the coolest parts of the 112 Collective line is that Mezco is always releasing some kind of accessory pack or just something to add to the figures just to make it a little more fun. And today, that's exactly the type of product we're going to be looking at. For one thing, we're going to be looking at a Cosmic Colors Multicolor Skulls 12 pack. Now, this is something that Mez has always been really into for whatever reason, is the constant releasing of skulls as alternate heads for your figures. And a lot of the figures that we've looked at here on the channel have had alternate skull heads. So it's just a great way to kind of repurpose your figures and kind of give them a different look. We're also going to be looking at the most recent release, which has just shipped. That's the new Neon Nightmare Multicolor Skulls 4-pack. It's definitely going to be interesting to compare and contrast these releases, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Of course, if you order direct from Mezco, chances are you'll get one of these little mini med sets. So here's Grub here with a boombox. Let's go ahead and look at the first release, which was a 12-pack of just Cosmic Color Skulls. Now, you can see the packaging is nothing fancy. This comes in a little box like this, and you open it up, and here's our baggie. On the inside, we can see that it seems to be at least slightly random. I don't think there's just one specific loadout for what you get. So let's go ahead and have a look at these. I got two of these purple ones. I'm really liking all of the crazy different colors you can see throughout it, almost as if there's a combination of blue and purple and lots of different little sparkly bits. I think it brings a lot of life and personality to these sculpts. For me, the most basic use of these skulls would be on things like the black skulls. And here we have an example of that particular use. It's cool to see them in a different colorway like this, and I think that actually looks pretty neat, particularly if you bought several of these guys and you want kind of a different look for different soldiers. So this is by far the most obvious use of these skull pieces. But as the review goes on, we're gonna get crazier and crazier. Next up, I got two of these orange skulls here. And they're a lot less exciting, I think, than the purple ones, but they're still pretty interesting, and they still have that kind of neat shiny effect. And I told you I'd be going for some pretty funny color combinations, and this is one of them. Here I use the body of the Hazard Commander Gomez. I thought the orange would look good, maybe contrasting with that blue sweater. So I think that's a pretty cool look if you needed some kind of new villain. Pretty neat. Next up, I got two of these red skulls right here. And of course, when I hear the term Red Skull, I can't help but think of the Captain America villain. Let's go ahead and check it out. And of course, the most obvious option is to put it on a Netflix Daredevil body, of course. You can see this is my customized Daredevil body, where I've used a little bit of dye to get it to looking a lot more show accurate. So that's why the tones are a little darker than you might expect. We're gonna say that the Red Skull lost his eyes and popped on a Daredevil costume, so good for him. And of course, we have the classic just white version. A little bit of kind of black grit mixed in with it there. So that's pretty neat. I do think they might have looked a little better if they'd painted those wells and the eyes black, perhaps. For this one, I chose the appropriately creepy Nosferatu body. It's probably the best match that I could find of any of my other Mezco characters for that pale white color on the hands there. But I think it looks pretty neat here. We can say that this is the ghost of Nosferatu. Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. Next up, we have these black skulls here with just a little bit of kind of a glitter going in them. They look very cosmic and very much outer space-like. Once again, for this one, I definitely would go with the black skulls, and I think that it looks really cool as if this was a variation of one of their soldiers, and he's a really great fit. Interestingly, these last two skulls are the only ones that didn't have duplicates. It's the yellow skull and the blue skull. For the yellow one, I'll definitely be going with the Gomez of Death body, since he is in a yellow jumpsuit after all, as Bruce Lee was before him. And I think that's pretty cool looking. I'm not really sure what the context would be here, but we're going to say it's an angry ghost man that is cosplaying as Bruce Lee. And to prove I'm nothing if not up to date, here we do have Captain Nemo, and I thought the blue skull would look cool with him. Could be like an evil spirit trying to taunt Captain Nemo on his voyage. I think it looks pretty neat. And without showing any duplicates, Here's the summation of the different skulls that I got in that Cosmic Skull 12 pack. As you can see, it looks like that there's pretty much about 7 different ones, and I had several different duplicates, including the red, purple, white, black, and orange skulls, with the yellow and blue being kind of singles. Hopefully everybody gets as lucky as I did with the amount of variety in these skulls, because I was really satisfied with all the different colors that I received. The only thing that I will say that felt missing was a green skull. I felt like I would have much rather had that than the orange. All right, let's look at the next pack of skulls. Next up, we have the brand new Neon Nightmare skulls. Now, there's only 4 in here, and I believe that it's exactly the colors you see on the box. And here we have the skulls out of the packaging. And sure enough, they're exactly the ones that were on the box, so you know exactly what you're getting. First one we'll be looking at is the crazy yellow skull. Thought this one was neat. It has pink eyes in it, and it's just very striking looking. Of course, I put him on the Red Death Doc Nocturnal body, and I think the colors work really well together, but you would have to kind of strain to get that hood over this giant skull, because it's quite a bit bigger than Doc Nocturnal's regular head. You can do it, like you can see there, but it's very, very full like that. I probably won't keep it like this for fear of it stretching the hood out a little bit, but I do think it looks pretty neat. So that is one cool option. It's also worth noting that this is not the same sculpt as that previous set. As you can see, it's quite a bit different, and even has eyeballs inset in the head. And the biggest difference being that these are fully painted, which I prefer tremendously. So at least there's something much more interesting to look at. And this color scheme, it just really does it for me, because it almost reminds me of old Halloween masks that you would get from like a pharmacy or something. So there's definitely that kind of early 80s, 70s Halloween vibe. And I really do think that this is just so cool. At first, I kind of balked that you only got 4 of these, but now seeing it in person with the paint and those color choices, it just pops so much more than just a single cast like transparent skull. And I just think there's a lot more to this, so I love it. And proving that I can't keep Masters of the Universe off my mind for very long at all, here it is on a Masters of the Universe Origins Skeletor body. And I have to say, this is terrific looking. Not only does the head scale very well with the body, but I actually think it's just so cool. And it kind of reminds me of that first mini comic from The New Adventures of He-Man, where Skeletor kind of gets his face burnt off by He-Man when they're fighting on the Starship Eternia. So I actually think that's super cool, and this is something Masters fans should maybe look into. The next skull we'll be looking at is a turquoise one with red eyes. Once again, they have chosen just some absolutely fetching contrasts here for these skulls, giving me that extreme retro Halloween vibe. It's really kind of a shame that this wasn't marketed more as a Halloween product. It probably wasn't done on time. So that's a shame, because these things are as retro Halloween as you can possibly get. And I love the detail. So let's check it out on an interesting choice. That's right, before coming over in another drunken stupor for the holidays, Cousin Eddie has decided to get some cosmetic surgery here, resulting in kind of an unnatural and garish appearance. But hey, you still gotta love the guy. I think this is kind of a funny combination. Of course, the blue doesn't match the chest here, but if you zip it up there, you can still, it works. I think this is really funny. It would also look good on some other more legitimate options. This is definitely another creepy combination here with Captain Nemo. I really like how that color of blue goes with the shirt and the vest. I think that looks really cool. Here's another cool looking combination with this dark blue and the yellow eyeballs. I think this really pops. For this one, I decided to go with Popeye. Look at that. Popeye clearly lost a battle with Pluto here. I think it's kind of interesting looking. I just went with something a little nonsensical here, just so that you could see the head on a body. I think that legitimately, this combination looks very striking with the black variation of the Krieg 13. I think that with this head, it does a lot to bring out the rest of the armor, and it just looks really cool. So that's definitely an option if you're looking for a way to spruce up your Krieg army. I do feel that this one is largely intended for the original release of Baron Ben's. I'm sure it looks cool on that figure, but I don't actually have that one, and I only have the Tectonic Disruptor version. Check out my review. And lastly, we have this lovely number right here with a purple and green combination. I like how when you turn these, doesn't it kind of look like the eyeballs are sort of following you? I don't know what it is about that, but it's just kind of creepy, isn't it? I think it's the way the light and the shadow kind of bounce off of it as it turns, but I think that's kind of cool, and it definitely, once again, gives me that retro Halloween vibe. I suppose that while this particular skull may be the hardest to match up with a more legitimate body pairing, I thought it would be cool to use the Casino La Cucaracha Gomez body here, just because I thought the pink would look cool with the suit, and sure enough, it really does. So that was kind of an unexpected surprise. I suppose this one might be a pretty fun one to use with your Pink Skulls Chaos Club. I have to say that these were quite a bit more fun than I originally anticipated that they would be. They're certainly more interesting than their kind of Cosmic Skull counterparts because they actually have painting on them and the color choices are just so much better. Definitely these are the kinds of skulls that I would like to switch out with my figures way more than those transparent ones, even though these are less of a good value. This set was $25 plus shipping, and that seems a little far-fetched for me, so I would say it's not a very good value, but if you're like me and you're a crazy Mezco collector, then hey, maybe you do want to get a hold of some of these guys. At the end of the day, having quite a bit of options and customization for your Mezco figures is really a great thing. I love it that Mezco offers these kinds of fun products on their Slugfest Emporium section of their website. I'll continue to support these little releases, even if the price keeps creeping up for some of these head packs. I do feel like the $20 would have been much more reasonable for these guys, because that would have been more like $5 a head. As for the transparent Cosmic Skull set, I think that they're really interesting and you get a pretty good value for what you receive. However, without any kind of paint applications, they're more of a novelty product, whereas the skulls at the top here that actually have the Neon Nightmare color combinations, I feel like that those were a lot more artistically intentional, and you can definitely do some much more fun things with those. I do feel that it's only a matter of time before Mezco starts offering maybe 2 packs of their Mezco 112 Collective basic bodies in a variety of colors, maybe even 3 or 4 packs. I do think that it might be a fun experiment to see if folks would be willing to spend around $25 or $30 on some of those blank bodies. It would be a great way to encourage collectors to mix and match these skulls with many of the different weapon packs and clothing packs that Mezco has come out with. And of course, this is a great way to encourage the custom community to keep coming up with their awesome creations. If I could suggest just one, it would be the Neon Nightmare skulls up here. However, it's not a very good value and definitely something that only the hardcore Mezco collectors would really enjoy. And since I do fall in that category, then it's something that I really get a big kick out of. All right, friends, I sure do want to thank everybody for watching. And of course, let me know down in the comments below what you think of these skull packs. Which one really suits your particular taste? I know that these aren't exactly for everybody, and they're really more of a kind of a customizer's product. But for me, I think these are really cool. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you can. It really helps the YouTube algorithm to share it out. And as always, God bless you and yours, and I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Fanboy out.